Electric vehicles are charging into our lives faster than ever, but it's now the ideal moment to switch. With advancing technology, growing government incentives, and expanding charging networks, EVs promise a sustainable future. However, questions around costs, range, and infrastructure remain. So, is today the right day to go electric? In the world of transportation, there's an undeniable shift underway. The days of traditional fuel engines might be numbered as electric vehicles surge in popularity. This is happening globally, and India is no exception. With a rising focus on clean energy, significant government support, and a general push towards more sustainable living, it seems like the perfect moment for India to embrace EVs. However, while electric vehicles bring several benefits, from reduced emissions to lower fuel costs, potential buyers often pause to consider whether it's truly the right time to invest. Is India truly ready for widespread EV adoption, or are there still challenges to consider? In recent years, India has demonstrated an impressive commitment to transitioning towards electric vehicles. This is evident in its ambitious financial investments and policy initiatives aimed at encouraging EV adoption. The Indian government has pledged a hefty $6.5 billion to support the development of EV infrastructure and offers subsidies, which is part of the larger plan to reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels. This commitment includes initiatives like the faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles scheme, which offers financial incentives to buyers and manufacturers alike. By making EVs more affordable, the Indian government hopes to bridge the price gap between electric and petrol or diesel vehicles. As things stand, electric cars are more expensive than traditional ones, but the subsidies have helped bring EVs within reach for a broader range of consumers. Despite these efforts, it's crucial to examine whether India's infrastructure can support the shift to EVs on a large scale. Charging availability is one of the primary concerns potential buyers have, and rightly so. India currently has around 6,000 to 7,000 public charging stations, which, while helpful, fall far short of the estimated demand of around 400,000 charging points. So, while you may find charging stations in major urban areas, particularly around tech-savvy cities like Delhi, Bangalore, and Mumbai, the infrastructure remains sparse elsewhere. This gap presents a dilemma for prospective EV owners, as owning an EV becomes a much more viable choice if you have reliable access to charging. The scarcity of charging options raises the question: for those living in smaller towns or rural areas, is it worth waiting until the infrastructure expands? In metropolitan areas, EV ownership is becoming more convenient. Urban residents with private parking can install home chargers, allowing overnight charging and a full battery each morning, ideal for city commutes of 200 to 250 kilometers per charge. However, for those without home chargers, such as residents of crowded apartment buildings, reliance on public charging can be challenging, especially where parkings are limited. Although urban infrastructure is improving, buyers should consider whether they have convenient access to charging before making the switch. In rural parts of India, the scenario is notably different. The absence of a comprehensive charging network makes EV ownership less convenient. However, some rural households with access to reliable power may still find EVs beneficial. Unlike traditional fuel vehicles that require trips to a petrol pump, which could be 15 to 20 kilometers away, charging an EV at home, even if slower, can be more convenient for short trips around rural areas. Over time, the savings on fuel can become significant, making EVs a worthwhile investment for those who don't mind slower charging speeds. For residents in these regions, however, it's crucial to weigh the limited charging options against the potential savings and convenience. Now let's talk about long-distance travel. For city-to-city commutes or highway drives, India has made notable strides in establishing charging points along major routes. Highways near major cities have seen the addition of fast charging stations at intervals designed to support EV travel within a 200 to 300 kilometer radius. With the drivers sticking to these ranges, a journey can be managed without range anxiety, the concern over running out of battery. However, for cross-country trips, a significant amount of planning is still necessary. Traveling from Mumbai to Delhi, for example, would involve carefully planned charging stops along the way. While EV travel is becoming more feasible for moderate distances, the process isn't as straightforward as stopping for a quick petrol refill. For now, long-distance EV travel in India requires patience, planning, and sometimes even backup plans in case a charging station is unexpectedly out of service. Technological advancements are helping ease some of these challenges. Many EV brands are investing in unified payment solutions and user-friendly apps that let owners locate, use, and pay for charging at multiple stations through a single app. Such tools make it easier for drivers to manage the charging stops without confusion over payment compatibility or station availability. Fast charging technology is also advanced, and now fast chargers are capable of recharging a vehicle's battery to around 80% within 40 to 50 minutes. While still longer than a traditional refueling stop, the improved speed and convenience make long-distance EV travel more accessible than before. One of the most common factors that people consider before buying an EV is the cost. Historically, EVs were significantly more expensive than their petrol or diesel counterparts, but this gap's steadily narrowing. Around 2020, an EV could cost up to 7 lakhs more than a traditional car. Today, the difference is reduced to around 80,000 to 3 lakhs, depending on the model. This price reduction is largely due to falling battery costs, which make up a large portion of an EV's price tag. Additionally, increased competition in the market's driven manufacturers to produce more affordable models, making EVs accessible to a wider audience. However, it's worth noting that the upfront cost, even if reduced, is still higher than traditional vehicles, making prospective buyers wonder if the investment will pay off in the long run. Calculating the total cost of owning an EV versus a gasoline car offers some clarity. EVs have a lower running cost, particularly when it comes to fuel expenses. Charging at home is often cheaper than fueling up with petrol, and electricity prices are generally more stable than global oil prices. EV owners also save on maintenance, as electric motors require less upkeep than internal combustion engines. While conventional cars need frequent oil changes, filter replacements, and other engine-related maintenance, EVs largely avoid these costs. Maintenance typically revolves around tires, brakes, and the suspension system. For buyers planning to keep a car for several years, these savings add up, making EVs an attractive choice for the long term. One concern that still worries potential buyers is the resale value of EVs. Traditional cars have an established resale market, but EVs are newer and less predictable in terms of long-term value retention. However, with increased demand and a wider market for used EVs, the outlook's positive. As more people become familiar with EV technology and as the infrastructure improves, resale values are likely to stabilize. Additionally, advancements in battery technology and recycling efforts promise to extend the lifespan of EV batteries, potentially reducing the depreciation that comes with battery aging. With warranties on EV batteries often lasting up to a decade, depreciation concerns may be less impactful than initially feared. So, should a potential buyer take the route now, or is it wise to wait? The government subsidies currently available for EV purchases won't last forever. EVs enjoy a preferential GST rate of 5%, while petrol and diesel cars face rates as high as 43 to 50%. Ready to go electric? Now might be the perfect time. Be sure to explore your options and let us know in the comments if an EV is in your future. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more on sustainable living and the latest in EV technology.